Hi viewers, today we are going to see about the service level agreement. Why we are going to see the service level agreement? It is one of the important document for service provider and also customer or the client. How to execute the work within the framework of the service level agreement. It is clearly or specifically mentioned in the service level agreement. It is a valid document. It is a yardstick to client and also a service provider. Here we are going to see the service level agreement of customer and service provider. Most probably these type of the agreement which are existing in the IT level. Let us see the service level agreement here pertaining to the customer and service provider. Here the service provider, they are going to give the service to the customer. So, for getting the service from the service provider to the customer, they have to enter an agreement within the stipulated framework. So, based on the service level agreement, the service provider, they have to give their service to the customer. Let us see the service level agreement, the important classes, what are all the existing in the service agreement here. So, the service level agreement, it is a valid document. It contains a lot of classes to obey the both customer and the service provider. Whenever there is a violation of the service level agreement, either the service provider or the customer, they have to sue a case against them or they will get the compensation for them. There is some exception also there. Let us see. The service commitment. It is one of the important criteria in the service level agreement. The service commitment is the monopoly one. The service provider is the only person to take in charge of the service commitment. It is a monopoly, mono-direction. They are giving the service to the customer. The customer never give the service to the service provider. The customer, they have to give the compensation or something as per the agreement. They are going to give the only that only. But the service provider, they have to give the service to the customer based on the service level agreement. It is a mono-direction or monopoly. And a master level agreement. So based on the master level agreement, the service provider, they have to give the service to the customer. Each and every service provider, they have a general agreement. They have to frame by themselves for execution of the service to the customer. But it is mostly metric in the form. We have to discuss here. Apart from this one, there are three types of the service level agreement which are existing nowadays in the customer and the service provider. The first one is the service provider and the customer. They are executing an agreement for giving the service or getting the service. The second one is internal. Internal means inter and internal. Internal means within the department or within the company, the IT section, they are going to give the service, IT service to the other department, or sometimes intera. They have to give the service to the other department also, the department which is situated in the other organization also. So multi-level. Whenever they are giving the IT service to the others, there is several customers which are existing outside. Several customers, different type of the customer, they are getting the different types of the IT service. So they are giving the service to the multi-level, multi-customer, and they are offering the different type of the criteria to the customers. This is the three important types of the service level agreement for the customer and service provider. Whenever we are drafting the service level agreement, we have to keep some important concept in our mind. The first one is third party, because most of the service provider, they have a separate portal system. This portal system, it is under control of a third party or the third company. The third party, they are giving they are generating the reports and they are submitting to the service provider. The service provider, they have to submit the customer, how they are giving the service to the customer, how it is going on, the service to the customer. So whether the committing of a mistake by the third party or the service third party, whether they are entitled to give the compensation or not. So it should be specifically mentioned in the clause of the service level agreement. Otherwise, it will be a demerit for the both customer and service provider. Most probably, it should be demerit to the service provider. And indemnification, it is the most important one. Who is going to give the compensation to what? How much they are going to give the compensation? So it should be specifically mentioned in the service level agreement. And the performance of the service provider, it should be metric always. It's a performance. The metric should be in online. They never be exaggerate or never be de-exaggerate. It should be online, because based on the service providing, the report should be generated. They have to give the report to the customer to know how they are giving the service provider, they are giving the service to the customer. So it should be specific. And whenever there is either the service provider or the customer, they never fulfill the never fulfill the service agreement, service level agreement. What is the procedure? Here we have to, that the agreement executor, they have to mention the service benefit or service credit. Service credit means nothing but whenever the service provider, they did their level best, or they gave a very good service to the customer earlier stage, or 6 months before, 2 months before. So the service provider, they got a benefit. So this benefit is being compensated whenever the service provider, they have to, or they did some immoral activities which should be not a benefit to the customer. Whether it should be the service credit should be compensated or not, it should be specifically mentioned in the service level agreement. And the stockholder, this is the most important. The stockholder, who are all the having the power to or authority to enter in the service level agreement. What are all their duties and responsibilities should be mentioned clearly in that service level agreement also. When there is a natural calamity which is occurring nowadays or now and then, so it should be mentioned in the service level agreement. It is a will of God. So we can't get the claim for that one, because we never think it should be happened, but it occurred. The damages occurred. So it is a natural calamity or some disaster. So during this situation, we can't claim the any compensation. It should be also specifically mentioned in the service level agreement, and giving the report when they are going every month or every 6 months. What should be in the report, ever should be clearly mentioned in the agreement also. And review of the contract. Whenever, what is the duration of the review of the contract? When suppose you are going to change the object of the service providing, or the customers, or willingness of the customer, or willingness of the service provider, and giving the service of service provider to the customer. Suppose it may be changed. Termination. How many days we are going to give the notice on both sides? What is the jurisdiction? Where they are going to sue the case? And also signature column, witness. These are should be specifically mentioned, and security purpose, because while they are giving the IT service to the customer, the security must be necessary. Suppose in case of any misappropriation in the security, who are the responsible? Who will give the compensation for what? And everything should be mentioned clearly. These are the fundamental criteria which should be mentioned in the service level agreement. It is a yardstick, just keep in the mind, it is a yardstick to beat the both service provider and the customer. So these are the fundamental concept of the service level agreement. This type of the service level agreement nowadays existing in the IT section, because IT section is the most prominent one. They are giving a lot of internet service to the inter-department and intra-department also. This is also a business. So without a proper service level agreement, either the service provider or the customer, they will not satisfy properly by themselves. Thank you very much. Bye.